Hey, everybody. Welcome back to 10 Till Profitability. Jay Niblick here with Brian Arzani. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Jay, how's it going, brother?
Good, man. Good. Look, I'm the founder and CEO of Intermetrics International. Brian is the president of Intermetrics North America. And we're talking to you independent business consultants and coaches out there who want to develop a bigger practice, get more clients, develop more profitability in the practice. That's pretty much what we're about. And we'll teach you how to use personality assessments and psychometric tools to do it. So you can watch through all the videos here. You'll notice one big trend. None of these educational pieces are talking about how to debrief a personality assessment, all the ones that we own. We do that in training, and we do that on the side. Our unique focus is also on how do we make sure to bring the best practices from the 1,700 consultants around the world who use our assessments to help you grow the practice in the first place. How do you get bigger? How do you go where you want to go and make the money you want to make and have the satisfaction and the lifestyle that you want? So today, we're talking about one of the more common things that we see, and it's one of my favorite topics. We have this formula here that anything we do when we're coaching or consulting an organization, and this is in the sales capacity, has to focus on a formula that involves 3 steps. It's problem, cause, solution. And Brian will riff in here for a few minutes too on this, but the big problem is there's a couple of stages to this, right? And it sounds really logical, but most consultants, especially if they're newer into selling, haven't figured this out yet. They're still trying to act like a salesperson. And they jump into solution. They're like, hey, man, I do sales training. I do leadership development. I do executive coaching. I do strategic planning, team building, you name it. I'm going to come in and help you do blah, 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 blah. What's wrong with that, Brian?
Well, here's the thing. It's like going to a Broadway production in a movie theater, and the stage is there. You can hear voices, but it's actually the spotlight is pointing at the dude in the very background of the spotlight. Everything we do when we come in is to serve, and all the attention's got to be focused on the person we're talking to.
Yeah, it's like in a sentence structure, the subject is you. And you're never going to sell if the subject is you. This isn't one of those, hey, everybody in the back of the room or books and stand up and listen to me and go buy all the stuff. It's about me, me, me. Not how consultants and coaches successfully sell. So,
well, the good ones. I mean, here's the thing. If I'm going to be a part of this equation, the only reason I'm going to talk about myself, the only reason with the rightful intent is because I'm going to either enlist some sort of emotion from them to buy in and say, cool, kind of like this. But most consultants, like you say, they're going to show up and just start talking because it makes them feel comfortable because they know what story they want to tell. And they want to walk out going, dude, I'm really freaking good.
Yeah, well, and I think a lot of it's just that they're comfortable. Johnson & Johnson back in the day when I was selling for them, I realized I learned a phrase, show up and throw up. You'll probably hear me say it on a whole bunch of these videos because it's a very common mantra of mine because it's the number one mistake a lot of salespeople make. They show up and throw up. And that's where a guy knows all the features, the functions and benefits of the orthopedic implant, in our case, the sports med implant. And they get a doctor pinned in the corner and they go, hey, blah, 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 blah. And just throw up all the benefits and the features and functions. It's not about the physician. Here, in this case, the ABCs of selling become the always be coaching instead of always be closing. And this is a coaching process. Problem, cause, solution. Think like a physician. So rule number 1, don't just jump in and start talking to some prospect about solutions. Hey, we could do this, we could do that. Have you considered this? The second mistake, they get a little bit more elevated. They get a little bit better. They think more like a physician or a coach, and they start talking about the problem. So that's better, but it's not perfect yet because they'll say, hey, what's the problem? What's going on with you? Perfect. They're the intent. They're the subject of the sentence. They're the people that are the spotlight are on. But then they start saying, okay, so your leaders aren't effective or your salespeople aren't selling well or your teams aren't commuting. Put in line whatever you, the people watching this, specialize in. You're digging in like a diagnostician, like a physician. What hurts? How long has it hurt? What does it do when you do this? Does it hurt when I do that? They're really getting to understand the problem. That's perfect. But that second tier mistake is then they jump to solution. So your executive leaders aren't effective. Your teams aren't communicating. Tell you what, and then boom, spotlight comes back to them. I would recommend coaching on those folks. Or, I could help do sales training and improve your salespeople, or I could help you hire better, or let's come in and do some team building for your team. Problem, solution. So not as bad as just straight solution, but still not the best because it's only working on 2 of the 3 legs. What happens when you do that? Like going to a physician. Hey, my knee hurts. Really? How bad's it hurt? They do a great job there. And then they go, I'd recommend surgery. How many people are likely to go, oh, okay. And I'm not talking about something small. Small in our world would be, give me $100 to give a profile and talk to somebody for 30 minutes. I'm talking, you want a $10,000, a $20,000. That's the same equivalence, the gravitas of having surgery. It's big. And so you can't just jump straight to that. How many people, Brian, you know anybody that went to a physician and they said, oh, you need to have a surgery, and all they did was look at him and talk to him and jump straight to the solution?
That's where the term second opinion came from. And what happened was, I like when you're talking about, you know, the problem and then you go to solution, you're really creating a dilution of your value proposition. You're completely taking away from what it is. Because then what happens is they go, gosh, if it's that easy, then maybe I could fix it myself. And that's where we created the valuing of the role relationship that I might be able to have with a client. Because if I can so quickly go from, oh, that's all you got? You know what, tomorrow I can fit you in at 1:30. I get the, you know, we'll get you under some sedation and we'll just get that little thing cut right out. And it completely dilutes everything that we're there to do.
And the doctor hasn't earned my trust enough for that yet. Now, again, has he earned my trust for a prescription? It's not a big deal, not too hard for me to do, doesn't really pose many risks. So a lot of consultants struggle living in that world because all they've earned the right for, the trust factor, has to be very low because there's not any real buy-in yet, right? So that prescription is analogous to, again, okay, I guess maybe I'll get some training where they come in and pay me $2,000 or $1,000, you know, a little transactional engagement. That's why they have trouble getting $10, $50, $75,000 engagements like a whole lot of our consultants are doing, right? Because you go from a gap. So it's, imagine you're on a road and there's the cliff here and a cliff here, and it just drops down into this valley. This is the problem. This is the solution. You want them to be on a bus that goes all the way across. That chasm in the middle, that gap, that's where you put a bridge down called cause. So think back to what the physician does. And this is the third step. And the best salespeople focus on all three of these. First, they focus on the problem. They're acting like a coach. They're just pretending they're already a customer. What would you do if you were already paid? You'd investigate, you figure out what's not working. Then they stop and the physician says, I think it sounds like a meniscal tear, but I'm not sure. I would never recommend surgery without knowing. Let's do some tests. Let's diagnose. Let's see what that cause is. And our consultants use personality assessments to say, you know what? These salespeople don't have the key traits of sales, or they're not great leaders, or this person's fighting with that person because of conflicting personalities, or they're not strategically oriented from a psychological standpoint. They don't have systemic thinking and all these other words. When you do that, then you get the buy-in. Then that person goes, wow, you said this, you showed me in these assessments that we really aren't good here. This is the cause of it. Only then, that's the bridge that gets them across to the point where they go, now I believe you. You've earned my faith. You've earned my trust. You've shown me that you're a competent coach who you identified the cause of my problem, which nobody else had. And it hurts like hell. Yes, if you tell me that you want a $25,000 engagement to come fix it, now I'm at a point where I can believe in you and that solution. And that's the only time then you start talking about yourself. You know, here's what I would recommend I can do.
Yeah, you know, it's the path of least resistance most often. And it's not only just the coaches and consultants' fault. A lot of times it's the customers who've been conditioned to believe that that's exactly what's going to happen. Yes. I'm going to have that individual come in. I'm going to tell them a couple things, and we're going to do some traditional crap. But with Intermetrics, what we have is we have this platform and this battery, this suite of psychological, personality, all these different instruments that look at the individual to figure out what is the root cause. And then off of that, we earn the right to co-author and create a mutually beneficial solution that typically ends up being a long-term relationship, long-term contract, where you don't have to do the project and then feast and famine. We teach this consistent model of growing, and that's what we do on a regular basis. In the final, 30 seconds here, Jay, I mean, what are some of these consultants, coaches who are watching this? What should they take away? Why should they give us a call?
Because we'll teach you how to do this. You know, the early adopters just focus on solution. You said it best. You didn't earn the right to get the business because you just talked about the solution and yourself. If you just do problem and solution, you still haven't really earned the right. You've gotten closer. We'll show you how to use these assessments to earn the right by going through problem, cause, solution. And that's going to get your business It's going to get more business, and it's going to help elevate the profits of what you charge when you get that business.
Rock and roll. Hey, we hit 10 minutes. What do you always say, Jay? I love what you say. If you got more than 10 minutes to watch a video like this.
There's one of the reasons why you're probably not profitable enough yet, because it means instead of learning right now, you need to go out and sell some shit. And sometimes you just got to squeeze the trigger and do it. So click down below, set us up with a discovery session. We'll talk and we'll get to go know each other and see what we can do to help. Later.
All right. Later.